roughly 30 million people with the disease. Let's assume that each of them has 3 or 4 people who really care about them. That's another 100 million. So 120, 130 million Americans out there who ought to care a lot, and they don't. What's your theory?
I think when you put it that way, it's almost a third of the American population.
It is. It's more than a third.
It's more than a third. And it's baffling to me that this disease is so common and so prevalent, and yet I guess many people thought that it was just caused by smoking, and if you stop smoking, it's your fault for smoking, and if you stop that would stop the disease. Turns out that's not true. And there's been a general reawakening to recognize.
I'm sorry, which part of it is not true? The smoking may very well have caused it.
Yes, it may have caused it, but stopping smoking doesn't stop the disease. Most people who smoke if they start smoking and do it more than a few years, they get caught with the addictive properties of nicotine and smoke until they're 40, 50, or 60 years old, and stop usually when there's some type of family or health crisis that something causes them to stop smoking. But when they stop smoking, the disease still progresses, and they'll frequently stop when they're 60 or let's say 50 years old, and think they're in good health, but then by the time they're 60 and 65, COPD really starts to progress, and it keeps going.
I just want to be absolutely sure. You're not telling people don't quit.
No, quitting is an essential element.
Right.
But I want to go back for a second. If you've got 30 million people with COPD, about 15% of them are not caused by smoking. It's caused by other environmental, genetic, infectious factors that lead to it. And that's still about 5 million people. So there's a large fraction that's not caused by smoking. And most smokers actually stop smoking heavy smokers stop smoking when they're 40 to 50 or 55 years old. So it's really a disease that occurs in former smokers and in people that are non-smokers very commonly.
Grace Ann, this has really become your passion over the last 17, and it is 17 years now since you were diagnosed. What's your theory? Why do you think people have been so reluctant to come to terms with it, to deal with it, to respond to it, to support efforts for research?
I don't think that most people recognize how serious the disease is. I don't think that they know that there's no cure, that you can get the disease whether or not you've ever smoked. And I think that the family and friends, I agree with Dr. Gibbons. I think the family and friends of people who've been diagnosed with chronic bronchitis or emphysema have to speak up. We have to take action. We've got to mobilize, because truly this disease affects all of us who breathe. You don't want to be among the 15 to 25% who've never smoked a cigarette, but yet you breathe air or you have a job. So I think it just requires mobilization and understanding. And when people realize there are 30 million of us, they will do something.